Hi friends! In our previous lesson, we were counting our counting bears. Today's lesson, we are going to be comparing our bears that we found in our cave. Now, when I looked this morning in the cave, there were a new set of bears there. And we're going to also compare these by the color. The materials you would need would be your counting bears, or you can always go back to your Fruit Loop cereal or any other actual things that you have at home. I have a mat here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to sort them out like we did earlier on. And then I'm going to compare them using this ice tray, so you can use an ice tray as well. So we're going to go ahead on and sort them by color. You're familiar with this, so we can quickly sort our bears by color. And I have 4 bears here. I'm going to put the blue. I have 2. Then my green. I have 3. And then finally I have 1 red bear. So I've sorted these by color. We did that earlier. So I can now move my tray out of the way. Now I have this ice tray. With this ice tray, I'm going to use this to be able to compare the different colors and then compare the sets. I'm going to just choose any 2 to compare because I have 2 areas that I can use. So the first one I'm going to do is blue. I'm going to take all of my blue bears and place them into the ice tray, into the little holes here. And I have 1, 2. Now, my question is do the blue set of bears have more than the red set? I can put it here and I can look. I have 1 here and I have 1, 2. The blue has more than the red, and the red is less than the blue. And I can prove it by looking at this. Let's try another one. Which set has more? Which set do you think has more? Which color? When I'm looking at it, I think it's the yellow that has more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put these in my housing. And I was counting actually in my head when I did it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to see if the green, because it looks kind of close, maybe the green has more than the yellow. Let's see. I think the yellow has more than the green because I can look and see it here. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I can look here and see. So I'm comparing my sets doing this. I'm going to put them back onto the mat. This is easier for me because they're already sorted out. Now, you can use your ice tray along with your counting bears or even some Fruit Loops to be able to do it. So I have some Fruit Loops, I want to show you just in case. I'm going to take these counting bears and place them right over here. So in case you have Fruit Loops at home, you can again just choose 4 colors, which we have here. We have the blue, yellow, just get a handful, red, and then I need green. Okay, so I have my Fruit Loops here, and I want to be able to compare them. Well, when I'm looking, I notice that the blue and the red have the same amount. But I want to prove it. Do they have the same amount? Let me try it. I'm going to take the blue, put it in, and the red and put it in. And I can see that it has the same amount. So you can try this at home and be able to use either your counting bears or your Fruit Loop cereal or any other colorful items that you have if you want to be able to sort by color and compare. Now I'm going to show you a cool way that you can be able to answer questions using something called a graph. Now we're going to take these very same counting bears that we had and be able to graph the data based on the counting bears. It's just an easier way to be able to see it and be able to answer questions. So I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow bears, 1, 2, 3 green, 1 red, and 2 blue. And so that I don't have to sit and just count all of them or do the ice tray method to be able to compare them, I can put all my data into a graph and it'll be an easier way for me to understand it. Come on with me and I'm going to show you how to graph the data. Hi boys and girls, we're going to use this graph that I've created to be able to show the data for the bears that we found in our cave. So the bears have come out of the cave and they're up here at the top of our graph. And at the top of your graph, it has graphing bear colors because a graph always needs to have a title. And then if you follow me on the sides, I have numbers. I've numbered it only from 1, 2, 3, and 4. But you can number your graph all the way up to 10 or even more, depending on how much data you have or information you want to show. At the bottom of the graph, I have colors. So I have the colors that represent the colors of the counting bears. We have green, yellow, red, and blue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the bears in the graph to help us show the data from our counting bears. I see that I have green here, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the green bears. I'm going to move them down. So I put 1 bear here. The next bear goes into where the number 2 is located, and the next bear goes into number 3. Now, I've put the green bears in this graph. Looking at it, I can automatically go up and look and stop here without having to count them because it's lined up here with the 3. So my next color I have at the bottom is yellow. So I'm going to move my yellow bears down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have 4 yellow bears, and I don't even have to count them. It's sort of somewhat like supersizing. I can look at it and just know that it's 4, but in my graph, it's a quick way to be able to see. I go at the top of where my bears stop. I look over, and it's 4. I know I have 4 yellow bears. The next one I have is red. So I'm going to put the red bear here. And there's only 1 red bear. I can look over at the number 1, go across, and I see that I have 1 red bear. And now my last color is blue. I'm going to move my blue bear down. And that's 1, 2 blue bears. I can go across from my graph, and I can see that I have 2. Now looking at the data here, I can use this graph to help me see and answer questions. So, and I can do it quickly too, because I have this graph here. That's the cool and neat thing about a graph. So if you say, Mrs. Jefferson, which bear has the least amount? I can quickly look and see that the red bear has the least amount because it only has 1 here, and that's the number 1, and it's a shorter than these other ones here. If you look across, it's lower here. Now I can look at the graph and say, which one has the most bears? Well, going up my graph, I look and see that the yellow has the most. Now, if I wanted to say, are any of them the same, have the same amount of bears or equal amount of bears? I can go across and look and see that I don't have any that have the same or equal amount of bears like we talked about in our previous lessons. So you guys, being able to use a graph to help you look at data, which is information that you've collected to be able to help you determine be able to help you to look at information a little easier.
All right, boys and girls, this is the end of our Counting Bear series. I hope you really enjoyed the lesson and being able to go on a scavenger hunt to look in caves and find our bears. During our lesson, we were able to sort our bears by color, and we also had our Fruit Loops if you don't have the counting bears. We were able to sort our bears by size. We talked about small, medium being in the middle, and big. We counted our bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. And then our last thing that we did, we were able to compare our bears using our ice tray. And then last, we used the graph to show the data and show how our bears were by color. And that's just a faster way to do it. So hopefully you enjoyed the lesson, like I said, and I will see you the next time. We've had a wonderful week learning about shapes. We learned about 4 shapes that are 2D shapes. Those shapes are the rectangle, and I have a green rectangle here. We've learned about the triangle, and I have a yellow triangle here. We learned about the circle, and I have a red circle. And last, we learned about the square, and I have a red square. We learned that the square has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 2D shape that we talked about is the triangle. And this is a yellow triangle. And a triangle has 3 sides. Can you help me count them? 1, 2, 3. We learned about the circle and that the circle doesn't have any sides. It has a continuous curve. We also learned that the rectangle has 4 sides, just like the square, but the rectangle is a little different. The rectangle has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, but 2 sides are long and 2 sides are short. Those were our 2D shapes that we learned about. So I'm going to take these and put these over to the side and bring over our 3D geometric shapes. The 4 shapes that we talked about for the 3D shapes are the cone, the cylinder, the sphere, and the cube. I have a wonderful, wonderful lesson that we're going to do that is super yummy. Learning about and talking about and reviewing all the shapes that we just learned about. So I'm going to collect these and put these over to the side. Now, I want to have a snack. And our snacks that I've bought are going to have shapes. I want you to help me identify what shapes these are. There are going to be 2D shapes and 3D shapes. The first shape that I have is this chip. What shape is this? I'm going to give you a moment to think about it. It is a triangle, and a triangle has 3 sides. Now I have another snack that I'm going to get. Boys and girls, this is called a graham cracker. Can you tell me what shape this graham cracker is? I'm going to give you a moment to think about it. The shape is a rectangle. You got it, friends. It's a rectangle. And we know that it is a rectangle. It has those four sides, 2 long and 2 short. But guess what? This graham cracker is now 2 squares. Yep, I can make my graham cracker into squares. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're all equal sides. Now, check this out. I now have another rectangle. That is so cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 long, 2 short. A rectangle. That is a neat snack that you can play with and make all kinds of shapes. Now I have this cheese ball. Boys and girls, what shape is the cheese ball? It's a sphere. You got it, friends. It's a sphere. Now I have 2 marshmallows. Before you tell me what shape this is, I want you to notice that I have 1 big and 1 small. You guys remember learning about big and small in a previous lesson. A big marshmallow and a small marshmallow. What shape are these marshmallows? Think about it for a moment. I know you know it. You got it. It's a cylinder. These marshmallows are cylinders. I have this circular pretzel. Check it out. It's a circle. And then I have a square from a Chex Mix. So the circle and the square came from the Chex Mix. Now I have 2 more snacks. I have a triangle that also came from the Chex Mix. And it has 1, 2, 3 sides. And my last snack, friends. What shape is this? Think about it. It can be a little tricky because it kind of looks like another shape. But notice that this one has a hole. What does it remind you of? I'm gonna give you a second to think about it. And this is called a bugle. It's a cone, friends. It's shaped like a cone. Cone has a hole and the bugle has a hole. Now, these are some tasty snacks that I have for later. Now, I have marshmallows and graham crackers. I gotta find some chocolate. Maybe I can make some s'mores. Man, I got my squares and my cylinder, and I found a rectangle chocolate bar. So I have s'mores. You can make s'mores, or you can take any other shapes in your house and look around and see what shapes you can find to make a wonderful, delicious snack while learning.